is touching the truth.
Alright, what is going on, guys? It's Havix here, and today I'm going to be making a video on Need for Speed Heat. And as you can see right here, I just finished the story last night. It was actually pretty good compared to the other Need for Speed games that have come out within the past, 5 years. Probably actually closer to 10 years, honestly. But yeah, as you can see, once you finish the game, I'm not going to spoil that much because like I said, I do think the story was probably one of the better ones in the past few years. So if you guys do have the game, I would recommend you playing through it all before, obviously seeing how it ends and stuff. There are a couple plot holes, but I don't think it was that terrible. But anyway, once you finish the game, you get gifted the M3 GTR, which is something that people have been wanting in a Need for Speed game since basically Most Wanted. Well, actually, Carbon was the last game that it was technically in. But one of the things that they've never really gotten right is the sound of it. So, in the original games, it had this gear whining sound, and in all the other games since then, I'm trying not to go too fast so you guys don't hear it, but since then, they've just been, the M3 with a body kit. They haven't actually been the M3 GTR. But in this game, you have the legitimate M3 GTR, so if I floor it right now... Alright, sorry, I don't know what I was talking about because the phone calls in this game are really annoying and they just kind of happen. I liked in 2015 where you could mute them or hang up, but I don't know if you can. But anyway, it doesn't sound exactly as good as it did in Most Wanted 05, but that's mainly just because, I don't know why it's that hard for them to recreate that sound. I guess they were going for a more realistic sound, which if you guys have played any other racing games I think Gran Turismo, or even if you've played Real Racing 3 on your phone, it still has the same basic sound for all of the pro race cars and stuff. And yeah, that's what the straight cut gears actually sound like. The sound that you got in Most Wanted 05 was basically just their best recreation of it almost 15 years ago. So obviously it sounds a little bit more realistic now. It's just that a lot of people really wish that they had the original sound from the older game, which if you guys do want to play a racing game that does have that sound, you could go check out my Discord where I got my racing game I'm working on called Breaking Point, and I haven't updated the game in 3 months, but yeah, we got the M3 GTR sound. I'll go play a clip right now. All self-promotion aside, I honestly don't hate the sound in this game. Like I said, I feel like they could have done a little bit better, but I mean, it's what straight cut gears actually sound like. I don't see really that much of an issue with it. It's just that a lot of people wish it was the original sound from Most Wanted 05, but I mean, at least we got something. It's better than just having the inline 6 that's normally in the E46. And this also has the actual V8 sound instead of, like I said, the inline 6. I think I heard somewhere that the sound they actually used in Most Wanted was the one from the TVR. I could be wrong, but someone told me that. But yeah, this is the actual sound from the M3 GTR, or it's supposed to mimic it the most. Maybe it wasn't a TVR. I don't remember exactly what, no, maybe it wasn't a TVR. I don't remember exactly what car they took the sound off of, but it was not from the M3 GTR. That's all I know. Yeah, anyway, this is also going to be, aside from me just talking about the M3 GTR, this video is also going to be me kind of going over things that have changed since I made my first video. Like, if I've gotten used to stuff more and started to like it more than my first video, because some of the things that I was complaining about were, you know, the controls were kind of weird, the game lagged a lot, stuff like that. Also, the car that I've been using the most just to race is this Lamborghini Countach. I do have an RX-7 that I actually completely forgot about. I forgot I even bought this thing. It was my drift car. But, yeah, got this Lamborghini Countach that I bought. I think it's a little bit overpriced in this game, but I mean, it's a Countach, so what do you expect? I also still really like these transitions. I wish I would have synced them up a little bit better, but I mean, there's like 6 different songs that could be playing while you go through it, so can't really blame them, because then they'd have to make 6 individual transition videos, and that would just... I also really like the sound of this Countach. Just listen to it. I think it's the Viper. There's some car with a V10 that when you swap it into a car, it sounds so good. And I would swap it into this Countach, but it actually has like 10 less horsepower, so I'm probably not going to do that, but it sounds so good. So if that is from a Viper, I'm definitely going to have to buy one at some point. But yeah, the controls of it, I've started playing with a controller instead of a keyboard and mouse, which was kind of my first issue. For most games like Burnout and everything, keyboard and mouse is perfectly fine, because you really don't have to do that many like fine controls. It's basically just, you know, slide all the way to the right when you take a corner, and that's about it. But in this game, you actually have to, you know, you have to move like this in between traffic and everything. It's kind of hard to do that with arrow keys. And also drifting is a little bit easier with a controller. And going on to drifting, I still don't really like the controls of it. I do really wish there was counter steering. It's one of those things that I feel like would be a nice option at least, because that's what I'm used to in a lot of games. Like in Forza and everything, you actually have to do that. And in like Assetto Corsa and everything, and that's just what I'm really used to. But I mean, this still works fine. It's supposed to be a more arcadey type game, so you really can't blame them for not having that. Just like Burnout, you wouldn't expect to have to counter steer in Burnout. But yeah, let's get into a cop chase here so I could talk about that a little bit. So when I first made that video, I was talking about how the cops were extremely aggressive and really hard to get away from, and that's still true, but I've actually gotten away from like 2 or 3 Heat 5 chases, and basically, there's a couple areas in the map that are really good for that. So if I go up here, basically what you want to do is you want to go to any jump, because if it's like one of those insane jumps that takes you from like up here all the way down to here, you'll basically get rid of them just from that. So one of the jumps that I took, let's see, where is it? I don't really know the map that great, just because I've only been playing for a week, so it's going to take me a minute to find it. I believe it was somewhere around here. Like, alright, well, there's this billboard coming up. Basically, any jump that you can go off of is good, because you normally get at least one of them that crashes, and also they sometimes get kind of confused at where you're going, because not all of them go off the jump. This one, well, they already lost me. But this jump isn't really that crazy. But if you can jump over to this bridge here, they'll still be on the other bridge and they'll get kind of confused and not know how to get to you. Just stuff like that. You have to try to confuse them a little bit. So if I go to the map, there's one jump somewhere here in these hills, but it takes you down from, like, for example, it would take you from up here all the way down to here. Those are the type of ones you're going to want to go off if you want to lose them really quick. And also, it's mainly just having a really fast car and getting lucky, basically. So it's not as terrible as I was originally saying. It's not completely impossible to get away from anything above Heat 3. It's just pretty difficult, and you have to actually try. And it does get pretty intense, to be honest. When you're trying to get away from like a Heat 5 chase and you got a helicopter and like 16 cop cars behind you, it does get pretty intense. And, you know, once you finally get away from it, you have to kind of like take a deep breath and be like, I got away from that, you know? Which is something that I don't think has really been in any Need for Speed games in a while, because in most of the other games it's just like, oh, let me drive down the street and they're gone. or even in like Most Wanted, you know, the cops were kind of aggressive, but I still feel like they weren't as much as in this game. Because in that game, even if you got to like a really high heat level, it was still somewhat easy to get rid of them. In this, you actually have to try for like 10 minutes to get rid of them. I'm on heat 2 right now. And also I have this this repair here that I could use, but I'm going to use that once I've finally used all three of my gas station repairs. Just because I don't want to waste that until I have to use it. Which also, I'm going to have to use one of those repairs in a second, so let's mark that gas station. But yeah, also, one of the things I was complaining about in my original video was the frame rate, and that has mostly been fixed. It's not really something that they've fixed through an update, it's just through playing the game. You've kind of loaded in most of the maps, and you don't have issues with having to load in stuff for the first time as you drive to it. And also, I've found that if you are having issues with it, and it's only using like 50% of your CPU, when it should be using a lot more, because most of the time that's the bottleneck if you have a good graphics card. If it says it's only using like 40 or 50% CPU usage, what you're going to want to do is right click on it, go to details, and set your priority to above normal or high, which makes it use closer to 70 or 80%, and that really helps out because, you know, that just makes the game run pretty much twice as good as it did before. Before I was struggling to get 20 FPS, and now, aside from some slight frame drops every once in a while, I'm playing on medium settings with about 50 or 60. So I'd recommend if you guys are playing on PC, do that if you're having frame rate issues with a pretty decent setup. That's normally the issue. It's normally just you have a ton of crap running in the background, and that's using up too much of your CPU. So if you just set the priority to high, it's going to prioritize your game over any of that stuff, and that'll help out your frame rate a good amount. But yeah, overall, I'm really impressed with this game. I didn't think the story would be as good as it was. Obviously, like I said, there were a lot of plot holes and, you know, things that didn't really make that much sense in it, or things that were a little bit cheesy and everything. But overall, compared to, like, 2015, which I think is probably one of the worst stories, I don't think this story was that bad. I didn't play through most of it, so I don't really know what happened. But it's just the acting and the characters was bad. And I don't know. I like this story. I actually, like, that was kind of the reason why I was playing this so much. Like, I didn't make any videos for a week because I was too busy playing this game. And also, I mean, I didn't really have much to make a video on. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. If you guys haven't played the story of this game and you're just kind of driving around and not doing that, I would highly recommend you play through the whole story. One thing I don't really like is that there is a lot of grinding to get through it. So you actually have to be heat level 30 to do the final mission. So the one right before it, the race right before it, you only have to be heat level like 20. So you have to go up 7 levels to do the final race. So that's one thing I didn't really like about it, but other than that, the story was alright, like I said, but I don't know. Let me just try to get away from this heat level 3 chase right now, just to show you guys that it's not completely impossible. I still feel like heat level 3 and 4 could be toned down a little bit. 4 should be what 3 is, and then 3 should be kind of in between 2 and what 3 is now. And then I think heat level 5 should maybe be a little bit less intense. Basically, your entire map, like, if you see that red circle there, that's where you have to be outside of. Like, you can't have any cops inside of that circle or else they'll keep chasing you. Basically, that is your entire map when you get to heat level 5. So it is very difficult to get away from it. Also, Countachs aren't really supposed to be going off-road, so let me turn around here. Let me go off this jump, which is just for a billboard, so it's not anything crazy. But hopefully... Oh, guess I'm not doing that. Yeah, that's where I'm going to use my quick repair thing, because... Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get away from this, just because these cops are being really dumb right now. Surprisingly, I haven't seen any Corvettes. Normally, those start coming by at heat level 3. I'm about to get to 4, which is not good. Let me see if I could just outrun them. Oh, ooh, I thought I almost went into those. I'm actually close to outrunning them, alright. If I just don't hit anything, I should be alright. So yeah, if you do have a faster car, it's not terrible. Heat level 4, that's awesome. Right when I'm getting away. My luck. There's an area in this city here. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's right. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. But there is an area in this city here that has some jumps and it kind of goes a little bit off-road. That's one of the places that's pretty easy to get away from them if you're stuck in here. I don't think I'm getting away from this, honestly. I only have one repair left, and there it is. But yeah, jumps are your friend if you're trying to get away from chases, because the AI doesn't really know what to do, and they just kind of get confused, and... Oh, I didn't actually hit the spikes because I hit the barrier. Alright. Oh, right over here is the one I was talking about. So, if I could drive, that would be fantastic. Yeah, I'm done. Let's see if I can at least jump this yacht. There we go. Yeah, see, I already crashed one. And going into the grass was not very smart there. Yeah, you see I'm getting away. Oh, I was getting away. Heat level 5. That, like, you see what I mean? It takes up the entire thing. Come on. No! I was escaping for like a second. That's a kind of annoying thing. It like goes back and forth, but it goes back and forth between escaping and like being in a chase, and it gets really annoying because like they're outside the circle, but if they just slightly go inside of it, it switches. But yeah, I'm definitely crashing right now, but it's not terrible as terrible as I was saying it was. Yep, there we go. And they took away like 60K. Come on. Oh, there goes all my money. Yeah, customization, it's pretty good, especially, I was surprised to see that much customization on this Countach here. There's actually like a lot of customization options for stuff like this, which I didn't think there would be, because you'd think with something like a Countach or a Ferrari and stuff like that, there wouldn't really be much. Ferraris, there isn't much, because Ferrari is weird about that. But Lamborghinis actually do have a lot of customization. Yeah, that's probably where I'm going to end this video. If you guys did enjoy it at all, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about this game, too, if you've played through it all. If you liked the story at all, well, make sure to let me know. I didn't think it was terrible. It obviously isn't going to be winning any awards anytime soon. Going to put some air suspension on that. It's obviously not going to be winning any awards anytime soon, but... I mean, for a Need for Speed game, with the train wreck that was Payback in 2015, this is pretty good. If you guys enjoyed the video at all, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, let me know what you guys think about the game if you have played it down in the comments. And yeah, guess I will see you guys later. Goodbye.
I'm all alone again, out of my own again, running from home again. You always telling me you can do better, shut up and show me then. I don't got time for this, I laid on the line for this, told you in confidence, all of my secrets and all of my woes, you took all of my soul. I'm on the road again.